welcome back to a very factual podcast. We're your hosts, Kayla.
And Izabella, and this week we had the Manchester Derby take place, and it was a heck of a game.
It was. So the Manchester Derby took place at City's home stadium with the ending score, to no surprise, being 3-1 in favor of City. Shockingly, United's Marcus Rashford opened the scoring very early in the 8th minute, and United kept their 1-0 lead the entire first half. It wasn't until the 56th minute when Phil Foden tied up the game, and then 15 minutes later scored again, giving City their expected lead. Then in added time before the whistle, City got their third goal by Haaland against United, giving City their 3 points. And something about this game, score was expected. It was. I expected City to win and
Mm-hmm.
everything. But United, they came out a lot stronger than anyone would have thought. And they kept their lead against City the entire first half and then kept a tie up till like the 80th minute, which is shocking.
Yeah, I think you knew City had to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
Even when they went into the break 1-0 down, you just knew that they were going to win. Like,
Yeah.
I was not concerned about it. I thought United, they started off well. And that is like the keyword, like started off. I thought they were better than I expected them to be. I think up to the goal is where they were really good, but then they just really kind of started to slack off. And to be honest, I guess they could be. I mean, they can't be proud of themselves, but they could be a little proud because I thought this game was going to be literally all City. I thought it was
Mm-hmm.
going to be one-way traffic, but overall, they didn't play like super well, and they definitely disappeared after halftime. I feel like.
No, yeah, they definitely did. I mean, at the end of the day, you just knew City was going to win, and it was just a matter of time, like you said. But United should take a little bit from this game. I mean, they did keep their lead for a very long time, even though they kind of ended up slacking after not that long. But they did keep their lead longer than expected. But also, if you look at the stats, you can see like City just dominated all of them. They had
Mm-hmm.
72% possession. They had 8 shots on target compared to United, which only had one, and total of 27 shots for City and only 3 total shots for United. So it's just a matter of stats at this point.
Yeah, it's very disappointing that they literally had one shot on target that whole game, and that was the Marcus Rashford goal, and that was it.
Yep.
Like, I thought when they scored the goal, United, I was like, oh, I was kind of shocked, and then I looked at the statistics. I'm like, huh? Like, it just did
Hmm.
not add up. And City, on the other hand, their goals were incredible that they scored. Like, I mean, Rashford's was two, but Phil Foden. Can we just like talk about him for just a sec?
Hmm.
He has seriously planted himself into the City side. He has been in the form of his life. I think he is literally the best player in the Premier League right now, especially on form. I don't see anyone else that is better than him right now.
I mean, everyone always focuses their attention on Haaland and everything, but Phil Foden, he is definitely one of the star players at City right now. He's been producing so many goals, so many assists and everything that he's amazing right now.
Yeah, like it always looks like he can create something. Like whenever he has the ball, it's like you're at the edge of your seat because you always think something's going to come out of it. And he is always there when you need him. And it's just like Pep can't take him off now. Like this, like even if he tries to rotate the team, I think Phil Foden's like that starter.
No, yeah, he definitely is. And something I want to just say about this game is that like I said before, you knew City was going to win, but
Mm-hmm.
the way that United and City played with each other was a little bit different. Like City, they dominated the game, but in the beginning, they did not realize how strong United was going to come out, and they kind of I feel like it kind of shocked them, and they kind of needed to like play defensively for the first 20 minutes, and then they were like, "Oh, we're City, we need a push." And
I,
that's
f-
what they started doing.
I actually feel like I don't want to say they did it on purpose, but I feel like they sat back for a lot of the
Maybe.
first half, and then it's like when United least expected it, they kind of like had a sneak attack and just jumped at them and was like, "You can't stop us now."
Kind of gave United like a false sense of hope, maybe.
Yeah, like I don't know. I feel like Pep would do something like that. And then Eric Ten Hag, I want to talk about him for a minute. He had another press conference after the game, and he literally said that they could have won the game. They couldn't. I don't understand how he believes that. Like everyone
I,
can clearly see how bad they were.
I feel like the only reason he said that is because they got the first goal, and that is the only reason why he said that, but that does not mean anything when the ending
Yeah.
score ended in a 3-1 score. Because you know, at the end of the day, they lost their game, I
Mhm.
mean, their lead, they lost. They just didn't end their way, and they couldn't have won it. At most, they could have tied, I feel like.
Yeah,
Kept
it's
their
like
tie.
yeah, I feel like I wonder if the players are, like, looking at him like, "Dude, what?" Like, we know that we played bad, and it's just like, he's so delusional.
He is, he really is.
It's like, how do you actually believe that? Like, yes, their goal was amazing that they got, but they're seriously not a match for City. Like, you saw how like even statistics like how far ahead City were. Cities are miles better than United, and that's so clear. I don't think United's players are good enough against City. Like they can't get goals without Hoyland anymore. Their midfield is like gone, and it's just like they need a humongous clear out.
Yeah, United is slacking, and City, they've been pretty good recently. So you just knew at the end of the day that United was going to lose this, and nothing else was going to come out of it.
Liverpool keep up their amazing form with a super late 0-1 win against Nottingham Forest. The only goal of the game came in the 99th minute with a header by Darwin Nunez, keeping Liverpool's lead at the top of the table. The result does not do any justice to how this game actually went. You could say Liverpool, yes, they were the better side. You look at the statistics, an insane difference in
Hmm.
possession. Liverpool had 70% possession. And they had players back in this game. Dominic Szoboszlai came back, which is so big for them. Darwin Nunez also came back after a bit of a knock. And Forest, I feel like for the majority of the game, they just sat back and defended. But Forest had the two best chances in this game. I thought they had the chances that were they could have broken the deadlock, and Liverpool had more of half chances. Like they only had two shots on target, and I seriously did not think they would get anything out of this game.
I mean, this game is just crazy. I mean, I just opened up the score and I was like, no way they just scored last minute. And I find that crazy to me because Liverpool is in first right now. They remain
Mm-hmm.
their first place. And Nottingham Forest, they're in 17th. It's like basically on relegation. And the fact that they were able to keep their 0-0 tying score for literally the entire game
Mm-hmm.
against a first place team that's not even on their level is crazy to me. And but you said looking at the stats and everything, it's just a huge difference until you look at the shots on target, which is actually just two for Nottingham Forest and also two for Liverpool. So I feel like Liverpool kind of shocked me in this game. Of course they won. I mean, that's a given. But I feel like they would have, I expected more of a higher score line from them, considering they're playing against the 17th place team.
The how the game ended is literally what this sport is all about. Like Liverpool fans went insane.
Hmm.
It was so fun to watch. I mean, I guess the beginning, like the first and second half, weren't that fun to watch. But once it got towards the end, you were like, okay, who's gonna win? Because you knew someone had to get a result. Because it's very on Liverpool like to get a lot of draws, I feel like. And I think
Hmm.
this game will mean a lot. They they're keeping that momentum that they have going. They something I really like about Liverpool is that they know what they have to do.
Hmm.
It no matter how many players they're missing, they just play the game and don't complain, and that's how they win these games.
I feel like whenever Liverpool is also missing players, we've mentioned this before, they have that depth in their squad, so they
Mhm.
don't need to panic. There's no reason
Mhm.
to panic. They know what to do when they're out there. And if it gets to the point where it's, oh, almost the 90th minute and it's still tying, like you said, it's very unlike them to have a tying score.
Mhm.
So they always end up winning. Well, almost always.
And they never back down too. Like they don't
Mm-mm.
stop until the last whistle blows. They got 3 major points, and they seriously don't look to be like stopping at all. Like Arsenal, they play on Monday. They're probably rolling their eyes. They're like, "Oh my gosh, we have to get another performance," because Liverpool, um, the nice part about this season is that, like towards the end of the season, is it's that it's just about winning now. It doesn't matter how good you're playing. It doesn't matter how nice it is, how attractive it is. And I think it's just about getting those results because it's like a roller coaster ride now. And I think Liverpool, I I genuinely think they could win the title. I thought City could win it, but I think Liverpool could actually win it.
I honestly agree. I feel like it's going to be a very tight race between them two. I feel like Arsenal's going to stay in third. They're just going to be
Yeah.
stuck there. But City and Liverpool, I feel like they're going to be tight because right now Liverpool has 63 points and City has 59. But City is of course going to gain a few points, when they're playing
Mhm.
United, and it's just, Liverpool's just they're gonna probably win. Honestly, I think they're gonna win now. I changed my opinion. We were saying
Yeah.
City, 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 but now seeing how it's going, I think it's gonna be Liverpool.
Yeah, like Liverpool, they don't always put in maybe the most convincing performances, but they always do everything right. They
Hmm.
they never stop, and I think Arsenal will kind of fall off. Even though they're getting like crazy like 5-0 results now, I just don't see that as being really attainable. And like you said, I think it's going to be really tight between Liverpool and City, and I think I might change my prediction. I think I'm going to back Liverpool from now on.
Honestly, I'm gonna keep rooting for City only for the sole purpose because you're going for Liverpool.
Oh wow.
But honestly, I think that Liverpool does have a real chance now because at first we thought City was just kind of, falling a little bit and they're going to get back
Mhm.
soon. But now it's clear that there's going to be some kind of competition.
The pressure continues to follow Pochettino as Chelsea managed to draw with Brentford 2-2. Nico Jackson would have an opportunity to put Chelsea in front in the 30th minute, but failed to convert on an open net. But he would quickly make amends, scoring in the 35th minute, putting Chelsea in the lead. The lead would last shortly as Roslav would equalize in the 49th minute, and Brentford would complete their comeback with an incredible goal by Yohan Wissa, scoring in the 69th minute. Just as it looked like the game was over, Axel Disasi would rescue a point for Chelsea in the 83rd minute. Okay, so this by the scoreline, it was a very entertaining game. I will not lie. There was, a lot of opportunities, there was a lot of chances, a lot of goals, but I was disappointed in Chelsea that we lost the lead and then we even went behind in the game for a little bit. And I feel like
Mhm.
that's just typical Chelsea.
That's what I was about to say. I feel like Chelsea is kind of at this point, if they have the lead, I kind of expect them to lose it at some
Mm-hmm.
point, which is not great to say, but like that's just the truth at this point because they had the lead and I was kind of like, oh, that's amazing. I mean, Chelsea and Brentford is kind of a good matchup considering their standings right now. Chelsea's in
Yeah.
11th and Brentford's in 15th. So I knew it was going to be a close game, but oh my God, that's so weird saying that Chelsea and Brentford would be a close game. But you just kind of like when they had the lead and then they lost it and then they ended up, losing, like, not tied anymore. They ended up
Yeah.
being like, losing. It just shocked me because I was kind of like, oh.
Yeah. It was like kind of weird because I actually thought we played really good in the first half. We looked quite comfortable. Like Nico Jackson, he had a lot of chances, which he didn't convert, which, that
Mhm.
is very Nico Jackson this season. We it looked like we could have like ran away with this match. Um we had a lot of opportunities created, but I said, Nico Jackson can't convert. And then in the second half, it literally looked like we could have been 3-1, 4-1 down. Like it was so weird, but it was a deserved result. I feel like it was very fair. There was both teams had parts where they dominated the game. Like we really dominated the first half. We looked really good in the first half, and then Brentford dominated the second half. They showed up after halftime. Johan Wissa's goal was incredible. It was like this like bicycle kick esque, like
Mhm.
amazing volley. I was very surprised when I saw that goal. I don't know, it just really shocked me. And then towards the end, it looked like maybe we could come away with a late win. I thought we started to kind of regroup again. We looked a bit stronger. Like in this game, we had 68% possession and Brentford had 31. And I had some belief in us that we actually could have got a win out of this.
I mean, me too, honestly, because I was gonna say though that I'm surprised that Cole Palmer didn't really like score, but I just see that he
Yeah.
assisted the Chelsea's second goal, so I can't really say much because of course he did something to contribute in this game. But, I'm looking at the stats, and Chelsea had they did have, like, best possession and everything, you just said they had 68%, but they had 17 shots on target, and I mean, 17 shots and only 6 on target, which kind of
Mhm.
makes sense of the scoreline.
Yeah, like you said, it's like an even game. Like you said, we thought it was going to be a close game. And even like their recent results, Brentford have 3 losses, 1 draw and 1 win of their last 5 games. Chelsea lost 2, drew 2 and won 1 out of the last 5 games. So like you said, it was going to be close. And
Mhm.
I personally think that this season, the Premier League season for us is over. I seriously don't see how we can get a spot in any European competition, especially after a result like this where we lost the lead. It like you said, we expect Chelsea to do that now. Like we already blew a final. We lost the Carabao Cup final and all we have is the FA Cup and we just have to stay in it. But if you look at the FA Cup, there is still a lot of big teams in there and I think that's where we will struggle.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing much else to say about this game because you knew they were gonna tie or maybe even lose because they're pretty close on the table and their most past 5 games are very similar in stats. So
Mhm.
it's just what you expected at this point. Spurs took on Crystal Palace at home and expectedly won 3-1. The match kicked off and Spurs was dominating the first half with a few tackles from Palace here and there, but it wasn't until early in the second half when scoring finally begun. In the 59th minute, Ize gave Palace a 1-0 lead, but Spurs is infamous for letting their opposing team score first and then making a comeback, which is what they did. And it took Spurs' Timo Werner till the 77th minute to score a tying goal. And then the other 2 goals were scored in the 80th minute by Romero and 88th by, of course, Son. And this win, I mean, it was expected. Normally, I would be surprised at a Big Six team like Spurs letting the opposing team score the first goal, but this happens with Spurs like a lot now, and they almost always make a comeback like this.
Yeah, like they started off really weak in this game, I
Mhm.
thought. I mean, they had so much possession though, which was kind of what shocked me, and they barely had any shots on target in the first half. Like they had so much of the ball but couldn't make anything of it. And I don't think they were really in the game until Eze scored. He had
Mhm.
an amazing free kick. I thought it was very beautiful, very well taken. And then it was like a switch like flipped and they knew what
Yeah.
they had to do. I don't know why it takes Spurs so long to get in a game. I thought like I literally thought Postecoglou would tell them something at halftime and bounce back because we've seen that a couple times this season.
Mhm.
And I don't know if it's how they play, but they just grew into the game. They knew what they had to do. They have goal scorers. Timo Werner actually has surprised me this season. Like ever since he made that January move to Spurs. I thought he actually looks quite good.
Mhm.
Brennan Johnson also grew into the side, and Son. He is the best player on that team by far. He's always
For
helping
sure.
them.
He's always there, he knows what he's doing on the field, and something about Spurs that I think that happened during this game, you said they kind of started late, and I agree with
Mhm.
you. I feel like Spurs, they do that during most games, like I mentioned, I feel like they kinda need, like, this drive. If they're not
Mhm.
losing, then they don't have that drive because they know that they still get 1 point if they tie, and they're just kinda playing, but if they're losing, they get nothing, and they're just kinda like, "Oh, we gotta, win." And yes, 3 points is better than 1, but for them, I feel like once they start losing, they're kinda like, "Oh, we kinda gotta kick it into shape," you know?
Yeah, and they had to win this game. I feel like, before the
Mhm,
game even started, this was the result that we were expecting. Like you said, because Crystal Palace they have not been amazing recently. They've just had a new change of manager, and I was just really shocked that Spurs didn't start off the game with any energy at all. And I was like, oh wait, could this be maybe something new? Like it kind of shocked me a bit.
I feel like Spurs also going to this game was like, "Oh, it's Crystal Palace, they're not
Oh
that
yeah.
great." So they kinda, like, did not bring a lot of energy to the table, but then as soon as Crystal Palace scored, they were kind of like, "Oh, we gotta
Mm-hmm.
pick up our, shape a little bit."
I want to ask you a question.
Mhm,
So, the Premier League table, basically Aston Villa is in 4th place with 55 points. Spurs is in 5th with 50 points. And I want to ask you, who do you think will finish top 4 out of those 2 teams? Because we already know Liverpool, Man City, and Arsenal are finishing top 3, and it's gonna come down
So,
to Villa and Spurs.
yeah, so, honestly, I think it's gonna stay as is because
Mm.
Villa, they have been shocking me a lot, and they did just win their game against Luton,
Yeah.
but it did take them, like, a little bit to, win that game.
Yes.
But the most recent game, but, their stats and everything recently have been a little bit better than Spurs, but they're both very, very close right now to how they're playing. But
Mhm.
even if Villa does fall off a little bit, Spurs needs to win 3 more games to take their spot and hope Villa loses 3.
Their next
So
Oh, sorry. I like cut
sorry,
you off.
go ahead.
Their next games are actually against each other, which I think is gonna be a really big deciding factor.
That is definitely is because that, takes one of those 3 games. So it's just that's gonna be a really good game, but it's just a
Oh,
matter
yeah.
of, points at this point because sure, they're, close right now with their standings not standings, skill levels, but it's down to, like, there's a 5-point difference, which is kind of a lot. And that's all we have for you guys today. Thank you everyone for listening. Please don't forget to follow our Instagram and YouTube at Very Factual Podcast.